Myles.
Brian.
Myles.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Governor.
No, I was gonna say for a second there. I was like, you sound way less British than you normally do, but then you fell right into your normal character.
Would you like a spot of tea?
I would love a spot of tea. Thank you so much for asking, guys. Thank you so much for being here. But more importantly, thank you so much, Wes, for being here. That we almost didn't have a show today, but I asked a bunch of people. No offense, Wes was on the bottom of my list, right? Because like, as much as I love Wes, he's already done his without parole duties for the week, right? We don't want to ask more of him than we need to. So I literally asked everyone else first, and Wes graciously filled in when it came down to it. So thank you very much, Wes, for being here.
Hey, no problem, man. I meant what I said on Wednesday when I said I've kind of missed this a little bit, and I'm happy to kind of be getting back into it. So bonus West Day. I'm 100% down.
Bonus West Day. You know how many people are gonna like wake up and think they have to go to work tomorrow? They'll be like, "Well, yesterday was Wednesday. It was West Day. Like today must be Thursday." This is gonna screw everybody up.
Yeah, me included.
Yeah, me as well. All right, let's do this thing. Let's go.
Let's go.
This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Wise Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure. Imzadi in the chat says, you didn't ask me, Brian. But you know, I did ask some other game cats. I did, for sure. Man, it was a rough go. It was a rough go. It takes a village, they say, Wes. It takes a village. Also, I don't know what's going on with this setup. Everything is busted format-wise. I don't know what
Am
happened.
I blue? Am I like a blue square?
No. You're correct. You are correct. I think. Hold on. Did that do it? That's better. That's better. It's not great, but it's better. All right. I'll fix it on the fly. The whole time we're doing this, Wes, I'm just gonna be distracted by trying to get. What is your background? I didn't even.
Well, this is the restroom from the popular hit game Doom 3 VR.
That's the restroom. Okay. I did play the popular game Doom 3 VR, so that should be intimately familiar to me.
Yeah. It's one of the early rooms that you go through, and one of the stalls has a bad dude in it that ends up coming out after you as you try to walk through.
My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here without Parole, and this gentleman over here to my left, to your right, is Wes Dillon from the eponymous, is that a word? Virtual Strangers YouTube channel. It might be a word, Wes, but I don't know what the fuck it means.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's a new one on me, but I'll take it. It sounds cool, so
I think so too.
we're that.
Nice. Everybody, the eponymous Wes Dillon. It's going to mean something horrible. This is how these kind of things go. It's like, I'm like, this sounds great. Everyone's like, Brian, that means something completely different than you think it does. Guys, I want to make sure that, we give a shout out to everybody here in the chat and everybody who tips during the show and all that stuff. But we also want to make sure that you know that you can get your questions on the show, just like Event 75 Horizon UK did, by going over to our Discord. Click the link in the description below. Join our Discord and leave your viewer takeover channels in the viewer takeover question. I got that backwards, but you know what I'm trying to say. Do you think the success of the Portal will maybe push Sony into not making a PlayStation VR3 and focus just on PS6 and Portal 2 next gen? What do you think, Wes? Do you think that they're having such great success with the PlayStation 5? Who knows about the Pro? And obviously the Portal selling way better than even they expected. Do you think that when they have such success in one area, that means they're going to say, you know what, this other area is not cutting it, so chop that shit out?
No, I think actually the opposite is more possible, because I think that their success with high bandwidth streaming, wireless streaming technology, places them in a pretty good spot to be able to provide a wireless VR headset. Low latency wireless technology is something that they've already nailed. One of the big um, criticisms of the PSVR2 headset was that cable. I think they're positioned quite well to drop the cable next time around and provide a headset that is more in line with current standards. So no, I don't think so at all.
Yeah. Listen, Sony's a different company than they've ever been. They act differently and respond differently to uh, to the market and the way things are going. So it's I think it would be a little bit impossible to guess, but I do think Wes is right. I do think that somebody and some people in Sony do believe in VR. Like just as a company, I think they believe in it. But so they want to stay in. They want to stay in the game. So many people at the end of the PSVR1 lifespan. Like I don't know. I don't know how there's been some like weird revisionist history on this, but for years at the end of the PSVR1 lifespan, when Sony was not talking about PSVR2, everyone was like, they are not going to release another headset. And AJ and I are sitting up here going, no, 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 they are. No, for real, they are. Of course they are. Right. And like, no one believed us. We've been hearing reports that like they were doing R&D internally and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. We've been talking to some people that were giving us a little bit of inside information, trying to tell people, yes, it's going to happen. PSVR 1 didn't sell great, right? I mean, for like VR of 2016, it sold okay, right? But like, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think anybody thought it was like an overwhelming success. And I think PSVR 2 is kind of on the same track. I think it's selling okay. It's selling better now. But I think what will convince Sony to make PSVR 3 will be the next 4 years. I think that, yes, Portal's doing great. There's rumors that they're going to make another dedicated handheld. Hopefully the Pro sells great. But also I think that PSVR 2 has a lot of life left in it. And I think that there will be many, many pushes over the course of the next 4 years or so. Price drops, whether that be temporary or permanent, and awesome games coming our way that convince people to buy it. And I do think that by the end of it, they're going to say, "Oh, this is trending upwards. VR is on the rise." And if we make a PSVR 3, or we make PSVR 2 compatible with PS6, which is just as likely or more likely, then I think they'll be more than happy to carry on the tradition of VR gaming. I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think Jim Ryan kind of spelled it out for us right at the beginning of the generation when he said, "Hey, we believe in VR, but we believe in VR long term. We don't think VR's time is now. We don't necessarily think VR's time is close, but we do believe in VR, and I think that that's largely why we got a headset this generation was just so that they could stay in the game, right, and they can continue on in the space. And if VR's time hasn't come by the time PS6 releases, I think they'll do something similar. I think we'll see a PSVR 3 just so that they can stay in the game. And when VR's time really does hit and we really cross over into the mainstream, they'll be positioned to take advantage of that instead of being left holding the bag like Microsoft and a few other companies, not many, because everybody's jumping on board right now. Like Google's getting in, and all of these, LG and Samsung, all of these other companies are getting into VR right now. So, like, um, I think it's going to continue. Like the industry as a whole will continue to grow slowly, while the younger generation continues to mature. And when these small people who have kind of grown up with VR, and it's just kind of a normal thing to them. When they become consumers with jobs, VR will go mainstream, and Sony will have been along for the entire ride at that point. So I'm not concerned about it. I don't think it's a guarantee that there will be a PSVR 3, but um, I would consider it more likely than not. So.
Yeah, and don't forget, I mean, VR headsets are just a display, right? There is no reason why, we may get revisions of the PSVR 2 headset, but I think it's just as likely that PS6 will come out and they'll say, yeah, you can just plug your PSVR2 into your PlayStation 6, and now games will be made for PlayStation 6, and you can play them with your PSVR2. I don't think they're going to make people buy a whole new headset. I think they want it, unlike the PSVR1, the PSVR2 jump. They want to hold on to everybody they've got this time around. They want to make sure that they want to make that transition as seamless as possible because it kind of bit them in the ass last time. So I think that might be the likely part of this, where it's like they don't even need to make a PSVR 3. They just need to make sure PSVR 2 continues to be compatible with every PlayStation that comes along.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of true. I would expect full backward compatibility the next time around, and whether they call it PSVR 3 or like Grandpa Barbecue here says PSVR 2 Pro, I think they'll carry on. I think what we're seeing with PlayStation as a whole, and what we're going to see with PlayStation as a whole, is that it becomes more of a platform than like a software platform than a hardware platform. We've already seen them over the last several years moving out of console exclusivity, and I think they'll continue down that path. And that over time, hardware will kind of be secondary to the software, and that'll live on console, that'll live on PCs, it'll be in the cloud, and there will be a number of different hardware products that you can buy into to experience those games in the platform. And I think VR is just a part of that. Handhelds are a part of that, and consoles are a part of that.
Asia Wrath, welcome to a level 1 membership. Thank you so much for the support. Atomic Teapot, the Game Cat, with the Australian $2 says, I actually think PSVR 2 will carry over to PlayStation 6. I think so too. And like I said, I think there may be a PSVR 3, but it's all just going to be interchangeable. It's just going to be a better display. But I think there's no reason why you won't be able to plug your PSVR 2 into your PlayStation 6. I think we're all on the same page here. We got Grandpa's Barbecue or Game Cat with the Australian $5 tip says, how would releasing essentially a PSVR 2 Pro with Pancake lenses and wireless like Wes said, rather than a PSVR 3? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's all sorts of options, right? Without having to take a major leap forward and go, hey, we're calling this a new headset. Just say, hey, there's revisions to PSVR 2 along the way.
I mean, I guess it's possible. I would say that, because I think it depends on a lot of things. I think if we start to see mixed reality really catch on the way Meta wants it to, which is not a given, I think AR one day will be a kind of a big thing, maybe not for gaming, but just in general for computing and interaction with the digital world out there. The metaverse is a very real thing today, and it's only going to become more prominent. So I think long-term AR as a technology is a no-brainer. But mixed reality gaming, I'm not so sold on. But if that were in the next couple of years to take off the way Meta wants it to, I think that could push us more into the likelihood of getting a full-on, PSVR 3 device next generation that supports mixed reality gaming, and that kind of being the next big thing. I think what Nintendo does with VR over the next couple of years will influence that as well. And whatever these things turned out to be, I think Sony already knows. I think Nintendo knows what they're going to do. I think Sony knows what Nintendo's going to do. And I think that they're already planning for it, whatever it's going to be. And they probably have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. And they're just doing R&D at this point. But I think within the next 2 years, probably they'll make a decision what direction they want to go and start working on it internally.
Wes, first news story of the day is that Into the Radius has sold 800,000 copies across all platforms. First of all, Wes, well deserved, I think. Don't you agree?
I wholeheartedly agree. I've spent the better part of the last 6 months putting this game over as one of the very best in the VR catalog, which is an amazing achievement considering it comes from a pretty small team. This is the ideal story of what an early access release should be like. They released years and years and years ago in the early access. It was a garbage game, and they just stuck to it, kept at it, improved it, made it good. made it great, kept improving it even after it was great to what it is today, which again is one of the very best in the VR catalog. And it doesn't matter where you play it at. It's great on Quest, it's great on PlayStation, it's great on PC. And they're taking a very similar approach with the sequel now. They have a very early version of it up on Steam, which is much better than the early access version of the first one was, but it's still kind of a skeleton of a game. But I'm sure in 2 or 3 years we'll be talking about that in the same reverence that we're talking about this one. And the fact that it sold 800,000 copies um, probably means that we're going to get a pretty substantial sequel here. This is going to end up eclipsing the first one at some point.
Yeah, I mean, for people who don't know, like 800,000 hasn't been a great number for video games in a long time. Like, I mean, back on PlayStation 1, I think to be a greatest hits game, you had to be like 500,000, and then PS2 had to be 1,000,000. I could be wrong on those numbers, right? And but then, like, by the time PlayStation 3 and PS4 rolled around, 1,000,000 was nothing. Nothing. Like, gaming had just gotten bigger and studios had gotten bigger. But now it's like we kind of hit the reset button, right? It's like now studios are really small because in VR, because they're not going to sell a lot of copies of their game, and so they can't risk to like pay people for years and years and years and have a team of like 50 to 100 people working on a game for 4 years. So yeah, just like you said, man, like this is the perfect example of how early access should work. And when I talked to these guys during the developer interview that you'll never see because it was horrible, I'm starting to think, Wes, when I said my interview with Blake from Vitruvius went really bad, and then I think the one before it was actually the Into the Radius. Maybe I need to start blaming myself for these things. Start taking a little bit of
It's
the
all your fault.
responsibility. It is. I mean, the only good interview I've had in the last 6 months was with dude from Skydance about Behemoth. That was good, but I think that was all him. Anyway, the point is that yeah, 800,000 in the VR space is really good. It's a really good number. Not a lot of games have crossed the 1 million sold mark. Remember, especially when you get something like PSVR2, that's only sold like a couple million headsets at best, maybe two at this point if we're lucky. It's like you just can't expect too many in sales. So 800,000 is really, really good. But what I was going to say is when I talked to these guys during the interview, sorry, I'm like rambling now. When I talked to these guys during the interview, I said, so Into the Radius 2 is going to come to PSVR 2, right? And they said, yeah, well, probably, but that'll be like 6 years because of the way we did our early access on Into the Radius 1. Like they're like, we're going to take years and years and years and years to build this to a complete game, and then we'll start doing ports. It's like, all right, that's fair.
Fair enough. It worked before. It'll work again. I'm sure it's very profitable for them. I'm not sure if they're still working with the same publisher. That EA published the first game, so I'm sure a lot of these tens of millions of dollars that they've made have gone to other parties, and they may be trying to invest in themselves this time and take a bigger piece of that pie, rather than hire out a bigger team and release games more frequently.
So wait, EA
Again,
published this on Steam?
I'm pretty sure that was the case.
Nice. Cause I mean, because I know Fast Travel took over the responsibilities for the PSVR 2 release, but like
That's
EA, that's huge.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I'm almost certain of that. I'm trying to verify it as I sit here. But,
It was also it was a different time though, right? So EA doesn't seem nearly as interested in the VR space as they once were.
yeah, no one is, right, except for people who really love it, which is great. That's fine.
And all those
They're
people are
not
right
listed.
here.
EA isn't listed on Steam anymore. So maybe if they were involved at some point at one time, I seem to remember that. But CM Games is listed as the publisher on Steam right now. So
Interesting.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I would bet money on it though. I do have
Fifth
this.
with the Australian $5 tip says, I bought Dead Second because of Miles's Let's Play. Really fun. Hope you're okay, Miles. Miles is okay. He's just very busy with work, and he's not even home at the moment. So it was unfortunate. Just everything did not come together today the way it was supposed
Eric's
to.
there.
Yeah.
Let's just say what it is. Eric's in the UK right now, and he's with Myles. So Myles is probably at a bar with some VR studios, and they're drinking and sharing trade secrets that they shouldn't be talking about. And making deals.
It's all making sense now. It's all making
Yeah,
sense.
been there, done
Uh,
that. Yeah,
so hopefully, Miles, if you're out there, we hope you're drunk.
yeah. Have one for me, bro.
Yeah, I have like 17 for me. It's been a while. Uh, all right, man. Listen, let's talk about why we're all here today. That's the big headline of the show, and that is that Into the Radius is coming to place. No, I read the wrong headline. Into Black. It started with Into. So, I mean, Into Black is coming to PlayStation VR2. Uh, we gotta give a quick shout out to the Oculus Quest subreddit, because that is where this information comes from. Specifically, Krongor over there, doing God's work, asking the developer Binary Mill if they have any plans for a PSVR2 or Steam release, and their response was yes, PSVR2 in the works. We'll be sharing more info soon. Thank you for being an ambassador. We're going to give you the honorary title, Krongor, of GameCat Ambassador. This is what you got to do. Like, we don't want to harass any developers. We don't want to give any developers a hard time, right? Leave the Golf Plus people alone. They're never going to get it. They're never going to understand how important PSVR 2 is. They're never going to understand they're leaving money on the table. Leave Golf Plus developers alone. But, like, you got to ask. You got to ask us sometimes. Otherwise, you won't get an answer. Wes, are you surprised by this? The Binary Mill has at best a spotty track record of bringing their games to PSVR 2 for the last couple of years.
So I mean, I guess if I were like a PSVR only gamer and just loosely familiar with the title, I probably would be surprised. But as someone who's very familiar with this title, I'm not, because this is an excellent game, and I think that the studio knows that they're sitting on a good one here. So I would imagine they're probably going to want to start by porting it to as many platforms as they possibly can, and then at that point they will either begin working on a sequel or they'll start working on DLC, because the kind of the format of this game lends itself to being easily, they could easily add on to it, right? Like DLC would work for this game really well.
You know what I'm saying, though. I just want to be clear, right? It's like they seemed like these really amazing supporters of PSVR 1. If you guys aren't familiar with Binary Mill, it's the same team that did Gun Club, and they did Mini Motor Racing
Rush.
X, and yeah, Rush VR, the wingsuit racing game. And then Resist came out on Steam, and it was like just nothing. Or like, really, you don't want to bring Resist to PSVR 2? Really? Like that? Everyone seemed to love that game, and
Oh,
and this
um,
game came to Quest, and we were like, what's going on with this? But we did get Gun Club VR on PSVR 2, and it was a really really good port of that. So, but that's all I'm saying. It's like I love the studio, and I want them to love us more.
yeah,
That's all.
I agree. They are a bit of an anomaly in terms of the norm. They kind of march to their own beat as a company. Um, Resist was a very good game, and it was fairly well received by the people that played it. I don't think it did particularly well. I could be wrong about that, of course,
Was
but
it? It was just a
uh,
Steam exclusive, right? Like it never came to Quest
no,
either.
it came to Quest. It
Oh,
was
it
a
did.
Quest game, and as fun as it was to play, it had great locomotion. It was a grapple shooter with a good sci-fi story behind it. Um, One of those Spider-Man with gun types of games, as YouTube would label it. But it was fun. It had some nice replayability to it. It was a bit of a victim of the platform it was developed for. Like, and I'm not saying it was a bad looking game, but you could very much tell it was a Quest game when you're in there. It was a Quest
Gotcha.
2 game. And then it came to PC sometime later with some very minor visual upgrades. I think they put some real-time reflections and things and stuff in it, which actually did help quite a bit, because you're swinging around through like skyscrapers and things, and all the windows being shiny actually did help it quite a lot. But it was a good game. I just don't think it sold very well, and given the slow growth of the PlayStation VR2 platform, it probably just didn't make a lot of sense for them monetarily at the time to work on porting that versus starting on their next project which we now know is Into Black. But this is a very different story for this game. This game has been met with critical acclaim. I don't know how many of them that they've sold, but I know that it's pretty unanimous that people love this game. I haven't heard one person that has played this and not just come away blown away by it. So um, I think they know that. Again, I think they know that they've got something here, and they just want to, maximize it and do the most they can with it.
Well, Wes, I'm gonna need a lot more assistance from you in understanding what this game really is, because anytime it comes up, people go, "Oh, I love Into Black. It's just like Deep Rock Galactic," which is great, but I've also never played Deep Rock
Uh,
Galactic, so I'm definitely in the dark here. And what's the gameplay loop? What are you doing in this game?
okay, so this is a story-driven sci-fi adventure game. Um, I think why it's so popular with people is because there's quite a lot of versatility in the gameplay in it. So this is, I mean, it kind of fits into a lot of genres, much like Deep Rock Galactic. So it's an exploration game. You crash land into an alien planet. There are some strange circumstances around why you crashed and what's happening on the planet. So you get out of your ship and start to explore. Um, it, a big part of the gameplay loop is mining, which is why a lot of people like to compare it to Deep Rock because you have to mine all of these different elements and things, not only to repair your ship but to upgrade your character and craft new weapons and things. So there's crafting in it. There um, there is a lot of freedom in the locomotion. I think is another thing that people like about it is that this game is it's not um, nerfed for noobs at all. This is a pretty intense game if you want it to be. Now, obviously, you can stick to the ground and run around everywhere if you want, but there's grappling in this game. There's a lot of like low gravity sequences where you're jumping really high in the air, and then as you progress, there's a lot of progression in this game. So you can unlock double jump, you can unlock triple jump. These maps are large and cavernous, like really like vertical and horizontal in all directions. So you can really explore these. You spend a lot of time in like caves, like 75% of the maps are cave maps, and you have to fully explore the cave system. And it's not just, I mean, while it is in the end linear, you end up in the same place. There's a lot of side paths that you have to go down to mine and find upgrades and things like that. Um, but it isn't just an exploration game. The whole thing is teeming with alien life and enemies. Um, and again, you can craft ranged weapons, guns, and fight that way. There's melee. There's it's just a very versatile game with a lot of progression. It's story driven. The story's pretty solid. It looks good in the headset, even though it's a quest game. Um, it's got a little something for everyone. And Brian, it supports 4-player co-op, drop in and drop out. You can start your run and people can join you in progress, and everyone gets to progress their save together. So like if someone joins your save and they're on the same kind of area of the story that you are, they'll get credit for that when they go back to their single player save.
Nice.
It's just a really well done, very versatile, uh, uh, with a wide gamut of features, and they really just kind of nailed it in every category here with this one.
Looper in the chat says it's No Man's Sky, but fun.
Yeah, yeah, I would say that that's a very fair comparison. Obviously, No Man's Sky is a much larger game with its infinite universe.
Right.
This has written levels, right? Like it's not where you're not going to get in your ship and go and find new planets or anything. But the gameplay is kind of like a simplified No Man's Sky, a greatly simplified No Man's Sky loop. Um, again, that's kind of linear and story driven.
Some good questions in the chat. I'm gonna ask my own question before I ask you guys' questions, and that is: are there boss fights? I'm fucking obsessed with boss fights.
Um,
You beat this thing,
yes,
just so people know.
yeah,
You
yeah,
must beat
yeah. We
this.
finished it. This when I started playing this game, this was one that I literally couldn't put down. Around the time that we went on break, took our hiatus to prepare for the 2024 show,
Mhm.
which remind me to talk about the 2024 show before we go off the air today, Brian. But
Okay.
when we first took our break, right around that time, I was kind of getting in the habit of playing multiplayer games, co-op multiplayer games with my wife and some of the members of our community. And this is one of the ones that we went into pretty early on. Um, and we all got hooked immediately to the point where there were like 6 of us that were playing, even though it's a 4-player co-op. So like we would have a team of 4 go in and beat a 3 or 4 levels one day, and then the next day another like 2 people would sit out and another 2 people would tag in and play the same levels again. So really I've beaten it 2 or 3 times at this point, because I was part of all of it. Like I was playing every day, but yeah, no, I got hooked on this pretty quickly, and I think within a couple of weeks, we had all played through the end of it. I think I've played completely through it twice
I
at
know.
this point. Still haven't unlocked everything, by the way, with the progression. There's still probably 10 to 15 items and weapon upgrades that I haven't unlocked yet.
Well, based on that description, you may have a hard time answering this, but Nihilist Ryan in the chat is wondering how long the campaign is.
Uh, I'd say 8 to 12 hours. Just a
Perfect.
guess off the top of my head. You might be able to run it more quickly if you just try to run through it. But we were all the type of people that explored every nook and cranny of these cave systems and mined every rock that we found. And by the way, there's like something like 50 different minerals and materials that you can mine in this game, and you need all of them, and some of them are very rare. Um, you guys will see. You're going to love this game. It's going to be great. It's going to be beautiful in the OLED. Even if they don't visually upgrade it at all, just the kind of scenario that you're in. It's a you're in caves, so it's very dark. Um, there's about 5 different types of flashlight that you can craft in this game to light things. There's a thing that shoots out lit probes that you unlock pretty early. That I think it's kind of like what Red Matter did, or Red Matter 2. Um, but a lot of the things that you're mining are like these glowing crystal type things, and there's a lot of ambient light, colored light coming off of it, and it's just going to be beautiful in that PSVR2 headset.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they did the port of Gun Club VR to PSVR2 themselves, but I mean it was great. It was like I believe if I remember correctly, it was running at 90 native, so everything like felt fluid and smooth. All the adaptive trigger support was there. The haptics felt great, and so if they are doing this port or whoever did the first port for them is doing this port, um, have faith that it's going to be pretty good. I might have to look into that
Yeah.
though. I wonder if they're just like outsourcing it to VR Monkey or something. I'd love to find out.
There's a lot of potential here for the port, obviously with the PSVR2's specific features, and like I said, there is a wide variety of tools and weapons in this game, and if they really want to lean into taking full advantage of the haptics and triggers in this game, then they can. There's enough variety in this title to where they can really maximize that or those features. And kind of going back to what I was said a moment ago, yes, there are boss fights in it. Um, I wouldn't say that there's a lot. I know there's like 2 or 3 big bosses, but beyond that, there's a lot of enemy diversity too. Like you do see a lot of the same ones like over and over again. Like, don't get me wrong, like there's probably 4 different enemy types that are kind of the meat, so to speak, of the game. But as you get along, that they add probably another 4 to 6 more enemy types in with those, and these places are just crawling with this enemy life. It's got a little bit of a Returnal vibe to it. It's kind of like that, with the exploration and the enemies and the overall vibe of the game, which again is a good thing.
Definitely a lot of love for this game in the chat. Izzard saying it's got great voice acting. Mark Poppin Pringles Leaf
Yep.
says for a completionist, the average is 21 hours. That's pretty good, man. Like over on Quest, it's they're charging $25 for this, so that's a pretty good price for a game that you can spend so much time in. Sirens on my end.
Yeah, it's a steal.
Yes. Nice.
This
Well,
is I don't know if you remember Dungeons of Eternity and how well that was received on Quest.
for sure.
That was a very popular game in our community, and this was the game that pretty much got people to stop playing that because people love that game because they could go in with friends, and there were tons of different things to unlock and a lot of different levels to explore. And Ender Black does those things as well, but it also gives you a proper story-driven campaign, which Dungeons of Eternity does not. So, or at least doesn't yet. They're supposedly working on that. But no, this game's got a little something for everyone in it.
Totally off topic. Isn't Dungeons of Eternity supposed to come to PSVR2, or am I thinking of Grimlord? I can never remember which ones.
I think they did mention at some point that it will. They had a very robust and ambitious roadmap of things that they wanted to bring into this game, and I think porting it to other platforms was one of the things they mentioned.
I'm just trying to get my ducks in a row here and remember who was who. No, it wasn't Dungeons of Eternity. I must be thinking of Grimlord. I think that game was supposed to be out around the holiday 2024, but don't quote me on that. Wes, thank you so much. I'm really happy that you were here. Listen, it would have been a great discussion with Myles being here. We would have just read some reviews on the Quest version, but it's nice being able to talk to somebody who's actually played it and can give a little bit of insight as to why we should be excited about it. And on that note,
hopefully we can talk you into strapping the headset on and getting in there and play with us sometime. Maybe we'll come back to it sometime between now and when it actually launches.
I'll hold off. Now that I know it's coming, why would I play it anywhere else? Izzard with the level 1 membership says, thanks for filling in, Wes. Canceled GAMESCAST equals lame. I agree. Canceling GAMESCAST is my least favorite thing to do, especially when I'm not sick, especially when there's I'm totally capable of doing it. So I hate that. Fifth with the Australian $5 tip says, next top 25, and will you have a GoFundMe for PAX 2025? I'll take the second part first, Chuck. We will definitely have a GoFundMe for PAX 2025. We'll kick that off with a live stream with the 4 of us. I know that's like the most impossible thing to organize, but we will do it. And we'll hang out session. We'll answer all your questions. We'll shoot the shit. I think last time we played Jackbox, right? Is that what it's called? And we did. That shit was fun, dude. Like I had way more fun doing that than I expected to. So maybe we'll do that again. We'll make sure it's just like a fun day of activities and stuff, and we'll kick off the GoFundMe that way. Like I said last time, our goal is going to be much bigger than last time because the hotel's more expensive, and I'm gonna have to pull from it this time as well. And so we thank you in advance for your generosity. Thank you for asking Fifth about it. But the next top 25 list is, a couple months away at best, right? I threw together that top 50 sort of with a little bit of reckless abandon and no concern for other people's thoughts on it. Just to make sure that we had one for all the new people coming in, buying a PSVR2 for the holidays, wanting to know what to buy, something that was relatively updated. But it's already crazy outdated, right? Since that top 25 list, Alien Rogue Incursion's come out, Behemoth has come out, Subside has come out. Arcanage has come out. Oh man. So it's going to be a radically different list.
Guarantee you people are going to forget how good Behemoth and Alien are. That people have this tendency to forget how good things were when they played them, and just remember the like negative coverage that it got when it
Yeah.
came out, and the low review scores, and like Horizon Call of the Mountain. Everyone loved it when they played it, but everyone hates it now when they're not playing it. We're gonna see it again, guarantee
I
it.
just want to fight somebody over where Alien belongs.
I
Just
need to
want to start.
finish those games. I'm at the very end of Behemoth, but did not finish it, and I'm fairly well into Alien as well, and did not finish that. I switched off and started playing Resident Evil 4, Batman, and Asgard's Wrath 2 um, when I got far into those games to prepare for the show.
Super Nintendo Chalmers. I always like that name. With the $2 tip says, Wes, is Flat to VR working on a fishing game?
Um, I don't think we're working on a fishing game. Now, we may be working on games that you might be able to fish in. I don't know that. Honest to God, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the next one that you learn about that there's some way to kill fish in it, because there's so many different things you can do in this game. It's kind of nuts. But I probably already said too much, so I'll stop.
Okay, just to be clear, you're saying you're talking about a specific game, like the next game that Flat to VR will probably reveal is big and there's a ton of things to do in it. Okay, I don't need a response from that. I just I just want everyone to realize what kind of little hint you got about the next announcement. Everyone good? You're all thrilled that you're here? I'm thrilled that you're here. Wes, before we get any further, you told me to remind you about the 2024 show. So please, what is going on with the 2024 Virtual Stranger Show?
Yes, 1 year in the making, Brian. Our 6th annual award show and celebration of VR is this Sunday, with guest appearances by Brian Paul and maybe even some other Without Parole hosts as well. I don't want to put them under the bus here in case they have to cancel, but uh, this is the, you know, if I do say so myself, the most epic VR stream, podcast, whatever you want to call it, of all time. The last two of them went nearly 14 hours each. Yeah, you heard that right. Um, Dozens of awards, and more importantly for the viewers, dozens of giveaways. I don't know exactly how many keys we've got to give away this year, Brian, but it's a ton. And we gave away over 150 game keys last year. We have way more PSVR2 keys this year than we've ever had before. Like it seems like most of the good games that came out in 2024 came out on PlayStation VR2. So the platform is very well represented this year. So cats, put it on your calendar. I don't have a link to share yet, but I'll put it up on the Discord probably tomorrow, so people can mark it on their calendars and come in. We'll probably start sometime around noon on Sunday, and it'll go all day long. And again,
Jesus.
we'll name tons of award winners. We'll give away tons of games. All of the games we're giving away are games that were either nominated for awards or most of them won awards. So we're not just giving away, super hot in Arizona sunshine. We're giving away good, relevant new releases, and it's fun. We always start by reflecting on the year and kind of the industry and where we were, where we're at, and where we're going. It's how we always kick it off, and then it's just a big celebration of VR after that. So it's literally it's the best thing that we do on my channel. So if you're going to tune in to one, even if it's just for a little while, that's the one you want to tune into.
So you're not giving away 10 copies of Floor Plan?
I'm not going to say that we won't do that, but if we do that, those will be ones that we just dump in the chat. Like
Yeah.
most of the games we do like trivia and we do drawings for. But if I have like older keys, like I'm sure I've still got keys from last year that we had left over. Those keys will just get dumped into the chat, and whoever grabs them quickly enough will be able to grab them. But all the good ones, we won't be just dropping in chat, I assure you.
Super Nintendo Chalmers with the $5 tip says, better answer than I expected. back to work. Bye, guys. Thank you for stopping in, Super Nintendo Chalmers. And yes, Nick, I do know where that name came from. I understand early Simpsons references, like first 5 seasons. Everything after that's a blur. Because I went to college and I got real fucked up for like the next 15 years. Um, Excellent. Guys, make sure you subscribe to Wes and his friends over at Virtual Strangers. Click the link in the description below. Go subscribe to his channel. Make sure you turn on all those notifications because if you forget Sunday is like an all-day Virtual Strangers event, then you're just a bad cat. Who's a bad cat? You're a bad cat. Don't be a bad cat. Be a good cat. Who's a good kitty? You are. Yes, you are. We have another news story. So it's time to talk about the new, this is beautiful, the new Aces of Thunder trailer featuring World War I planes. Dude, this is, oh my God, I didn't even queue it up. I'm so excited to see it again, and I forgot to queue it up. We still don't have a release date for Aces of Thunder, but man, they keep trickling this shit out, and it just keeps seeming like a bigger and bigger and bigger game every single time they show us shit. And this is just beautiful, man. Like I grew up with like Sierra and Dynamics, and so the second I saw the aerial combat in these old World War I planes, it just reminded me of Red Baron that Dynamics put out like when I was 10 years old, right? And like it was my dad's game, right? But I remember playing it and being like, curious about it and being like, this is like a adult game. I'm sure it's not as much of an adult game as I think it was, probably way more shallow than I remember it, but like it just brings back all of these memories. And so looking at this trailer, I think, man, I wish I could go tell 10-year-old Brian Paul, like, dude, Red Baron's cool, but wait till you're playing this in VR 35 fucking years from now. Like, there's something very beautiful about this for me, and it just like brings back all those memories. So I hope the game delivers, Wes, because if this trailer is the best part of Aces of Thunder, then fuck it, I give up. I don't know what to say.
Well, these trailers, they keep getting better, man, in terms of like visually speaking. It makes you wonder if they're touching this stuff up at all in editing, or if it really looks like that in the headset. Because if it does, this is going to be exactly what we need out of a flight game, right? We want something that's super immersive that makes you feel like you're actually up in the air. And if it really looks like this, um, and specifically with this one with the older planes, there's a lot more opportunity for the developers to build immersion through sound and haptics, right? Because you're in these older like wooden paper planes, so to speak, that are going to be really rattly and have a very different sound to the engine, and all of that stuff. When you're talking about a VR game, that all adds up to immersion if it's done well. So a lot of potential here, especially with this most latest group of aircraft that they're showing us. And these games are just fun to play. Like having these old style like repeater automatic weapons mounted on it, and with the old style hard sights on the front of the plane that you're aiming down. That's just fun, man. I've played other games, other VR games that have similar aircraft in it, and while they don't look like this, they were still a lot of fun.
Mischievous Markio, the underground game cat, in the chat says, "There's no way it's that sharp in the plane. Like the letters on the gauges won't be crystal clear." I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Listen, we already know this thing's running at 90 native. My guess is that it's using DFR. They're probably working very closely with Sony, right? Making sure that this thing looks beautiful and that they've got all the money they need to make this thing. It's not going to look. I don't think the gauge is going to look crystal clear. Maybe when you're looking at them, right? But like out of your peripheral, it's probably not going to be crazy. I don't know. Like my hopes for this thing just keep rising and rising and rising. And I think I'm kind of with everybody in the chat that maybe it's like, okay, you got to shut up now. You got to shut up and just release the game or go radio silent until the game's ready. Because like, I just feel like the hype is too high. And that at this point, it's like, how are they going to actually match that hype with a game that delivers on that level? I mean, I don't know if they can. But I'm very, very interested to see if they do. I'm excited for this
I think
one.
they're doing a good job here. They're spacing. They're just releasing trailers, right? And they're showing us something new every time. And it's not like a story-driven thing where they're going to spoil it for us. Like we know what's in the game. There's airplanes. Oh, look, there's more
Sure.
airplanes. Um, So I think they're doing a good job of not letting people forget about them, right? And all of the stuff that's coming out and all the stuff that's going on. They're every now and then they're saying, "Hey guys, don't forget about us. We are polishing and polishing and polishing away here, and we will be launching this year." So I think they're doing all right with it.
Wes, I was kind of struggling putting together a run of show before before we started up, but I forgot that it is going to be your turn to do
Yeah, I got
to
one.
host. You got a game in the chamber ready
Yeah,
to
I'm
go.
ready.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
I knew it
look at
would be
this!
my turn today, so I thought about it before we went live.
Look at this guy. Yeah, you're right, man. You're absolutely right. I think this the special part of I think the special part of Aces of Thunder is going to be the interactions you have in the game, all the all the crazy dogfighting and the moments you have with your friends, and that's and no one can spoil that. No one can really take that away from you in a trailer. So I think you're right. Um,
Yeah. Yep.
just before we get into the 4 minute challenge, we got Alejandro D. 2 year underground stranger game cat with the level 3 membership says super late. But I wish the next PSVR had Pancake OLED, wishful thinking micro OLED, and movies access. I do like the visor screen that flips up and down. Besides that, we're fine. Great job, guys. Yeah, I mean, technology is advancing all the time. Wes, is it an inherent thing with Pancake lenses that they have to be as thick as they are? Or do you think that that will change and so we'll be able to have thinner pancakes with OLED panels that will all kind of like work right together?
I think that that the industry's moving to pancake lenses, and I do think that that the next PSVR headset will follow suit with that. I don't think that the problem with it and the reason why we didn't get it this time around was I don't think it has anything to do with like anything logistical like size or anything like that. I think it was more of the idea that they wanted to be able to classify this headset as an HDR headset, and pancake lenses are not very efficient. You lose a lot of light in those lenses. So had they gone with pancake lenses, it wouldn't have technically been an HDR headset, and I think that's why they went against it. Plus, of course, I'm sure that these Fresnel lenses are cheaper to manufacture as well. So, but no, I think next time around we'll definitely have Pancake. Will we have micro OLED panels? Probably not. That's that's a technology that's just now starting to creep its way into consumer products, and it's very expensive. Now, maybe, I mean, we are talking about a product that's probably 5 years away, so maybe micro OLED will be affordable at that time and cheap to produce. You know, Sony is a display manufacturer as well. We can't forget that. But I don't think we'll have micro OLED next time around. I think we'll have a normal OLED panel in there with pancake lenses, and it'll be a fairly small form factor like we see right now with Quest 3 and Quest Pro.
Since we're speculating, I don't want to leave this topic of conversation without just throwing this out there. Um, uh, we're gradually getting larger and larger FOVs. At least, I mean, on on PlayStation VR, at least, right? Quest has kind of bounced around a little bit in terms of what each headset was capable of. Um, do you think there's going to be do you think there's going to be a specific number that becomes a standard? Like what was the Pimax? The Pimax was like the ridiculously gigantic headset, but what FOV did it give you?
200.
Which is crazy. Have you worn a
That is
Pimax?
crazy. Yes, I have. It's
Is
nuts.
it radically different?
It is radically different. You can't. There is no binocular effect at all. Like you can't see the edges in your peripheral. It's full field of view.
So I mean, the possibility of that becoming kind of like a standard and finding a way to like shrink it down into like a normal size headset. Obviously, we want the headsets to be as small as possible, but we want the FOV to be as big as possible. And these two things are kind of at odds with each other.
They
So
are.
I mean that for me, I think is going to be like what the future of VR brings, right? This massive FOV, but also same time condensing the size of the headset.
Yeah, that one's kind of far away. The industry as a whole has kind of moved away from field of view as a feature that they want to progress in. It seems like it's hard to have all of these other features that they've been adding in and increase the field of view at the same time. We have seen some interesting concepts in recent years with canted lenses that that have basically a regular set of lenses in front, and then attached to that are another set of lenses on the side. Um, and that does work, but there's a very clear line where the two lenses meet right now. And I think that was kind of the biggest failure of the Pimax is even though it did have that super wide field of view, there were a lot of distortion and artifacts in the peripheral with it. So even Pimax is moving away from that. Like their recent headsets have kept it down to like 140 and 160, and that even like their latest one that they announced is a lot closer to PSVR2 in terms of field of view. So yeah, I would love to see the technology move in that direction and the companies put more of an emphasis on giving us wider field of view because I do think that's important for immersion overall. But it doesn't seem like it's a big priority right now for any of the main players.
OS. Look at what you've done. Vertical Grind with the Australian $5 tip says confirmed. Flat to VR porting Subnautica or Witcher 3 or Grand Theft Auto 5. Open worlds with no fishing but the ability to kill fish. Nice. Keep up the great work. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. This is where rumors start, Wes. Right here on Gamescast Live.
Keep your expectations in check. Speculation is not a good thing.
Yeah.
You will be surprised.
Listen, as exciting as I think the next year is going to be for Flat to VR, and again, I know nothing. Wes, I purposefully don't ask Wes to tell me anything because I want to be like that kid on Christmas when the announcements are made. Plus, like, I don't need to accidentally say something to somebody and, make anybody lose their job. So there's that. But honestly, like, listen, I think the next year for you guys is going to be great. But I really wish I could fast forward and just see what like 5 years from now looks like. And what kind of games and how many, like, and not that you guys want a ton of competition, but I think you're showing the industry how it's done, and you're showing people like that there's money to be made by doing this. These games are already made. There are VR gamers who want to play them in VR. 1 + 1 = 2, right? And so like I think there are going to be flat to VR competitors out there, and I think that's just going to be great for the industry. So I'm really, really excited to see what happens over the next few years.
Agreed. That's the stuff to be really excited about is the stuff that they're working on for years from now. We will continually progress. So don't get me wrong, the stuff that's coming soon is really cool, but the stuff that's coming down the road is really, really cool.
All right, man. You've got your game picked out. We're going to do a little 4-minute challenge. Everybody out there, please help me because my brain shuts down. Well, I mean, I was going to say the minute we start this game, but it's really the minute the podcast starts. Actually, you know what? It's like the minute I get out of bed. Like as soon as my dreams about hanging out with John Riggs are over, my brain goes, what are we doing today? And then it's all over. So thank you guys for tolerating me because I'm a mess. I need all go. Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because since Wednesday, I think I've dreamt every time that I've went to sleep, and I've remembered every one of them when I woke up, which was different. It's like talking about it fixed the problem that I had.
I get comments from people being like, I get the waiting tables dream every single night, and so I wake up stressed out every day. So it is a common dream to have, apparently. Common nightmare to have.
Yeah, so myself. Bad.
All right, guys, help me out in the chat. Wes is thinking of a PSVR1 or PSVR2 game, and it's our job to think of what game it is, asking only yes or no questions. We have an infinite number of questions, but only 4 minutes to ask them in, which makes it not so infinite. Let's do this. On my mark, get Des, go. Is it on PSVR1?
It is.
Is it also on PSVR2?
It is not.
Okay. Is it a PSVR1 exclusive?
No.
Okay. Is it a shooter? Would you shoot guns? Good question, Bam.
You can.
Okay.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of. Oh boy.
No, don't think about that. Yeah, you can shoot guns in this game.
All right. Can you also play it on the flat screen?
You can.
You can.
You can.
Oh. Okay. Whoa. Okay. Is it a big budget game?
Mm, probably. Like I wouldn't I wouldn't call it like a triple A game or anything, but I mean I'd say that they've generated a lot of revenue with it, and they've probably put that revenue or a lot of that revenue back into it
All right.
over
Is it
time.
is it by a studio we're all very familiar with? Like is it? Yeah. Let me ask this. Is it by In Dreams?
It is not behind dreams.
Is it by Fast Travel?
No.
Okay. Yeah. PSVR1. Okay. Yeah. Let's get some genres down. Is it sci-fi?
Um, I wouldn't call it sci-fi, but there's probably some sci-fi stuff in it.
Okay. Is it horror?
I wouldn't call it horror, but there's probably some horror material in there.
Wow. Um. Okay. Does this game have sequels or prequels? Is it part of a
No,
series? No.
no.
Okay. Not Borderlands Looper. Um. Okay. Is Andrew Ehrenreich is asking if it's all first person, or does yeah, is it all first person?
Now that is a good question.
Ooh.
I'm really not sure. It's mostly first person. There may be an application in this where you're able to do some third person stuff, but it's all of my time in the game has been first person.
All right. Multiple people have asked if it has aim support. That will help.
No, no aim.
Move support.
Yes.
Full locomotion.
Yes.
Okay. God. Are there any vehicles in this game? Asked Mark.
Yes.
Are you always in a vehicle?
No.
Okay. It can't be Apex Construct Vendor because I already said it's not by Fast Travel. Um, Batman didn't have any vehicles, none, right? Oh man, LA Noir is a good shout, Looper. Is this is this a Rockstar game?
No.
Damn. We were almost there. Bam is asking if it also has melee weapons.
I think so.
Okay.
Sometimes, yeah.
It can't be Borderlands because it's not part of a series. Is this by Servios?
No.
Okay, it can't be Raw Data. Realistic art style?
No.
Uh-oh, we are in trouble, you guys. We got 10 seconds left. Like crap, I just need to take the next suggestion that comes along. No, not helpful, Ian. Not helpful. I'm literally just going to say the next game that somebody suggests. And no one is suggesting a game. No one wants to take responsibility for this. I mean, I'm out of time. I've lost the game. Come on, somebody say something.
Nobody's going to get it.
All right.
You guys are so far off from it.
Listen, Steve IRE says Blood and Truth, and I know it's not, but we're going to go with it.
No, it's not. And I'm kind of evil for picking. This is a hard one to get in 4 minutes. Like maybe with the old rules, you might have been able to get close to it. But from Against Gravity Corporation, the
Rec Room?
free-to-play social multiplayer game Rec Room.
Oh my god! I mean, at least I remember the name of the fucking studio. Holy crap! Yeah, this is kind of like trying to guess dreams, right? Because the answer is like, oh well, yeah, it's got guns. Yeah, sure, it's got swords. Sure, it's this, it's that, it's everything.
Right. Everything.
Literally every answer would be yes.
Yeah. Right.
No, that is good though. That is good. And why the fuck isn't this on PSVR2 Against Gravity? Huh?
That is so weird, dude.
Right?
Like they brought this game to every little shit platform that you can even imagine. And then they say there's not enough market on PSVR2. Bullshit. Bullshit. There's
Here's my
more
theory, Wes.
PSVR2 than like some of the other stuff that they're doing. What's your
Here,
theory, bro?
my theory is that PlayStation gave him some money. Sony gave him some money to get Rec Room on the PSVR1, and then Apple gave him some money to bring it to Apple Vision Pro, and then every single other little, like you said, every other little shithole VR studio or VR manufacturer gave them against money to bring their game to their headset. And then when it came time to port it to PSVR2, they were like, "Hey, everyone gives us money to port this thing," and Sony's like, "Nah, you're on your own," because obviously Sony's not nearly as invested as like we hear stories about how hands-on they were with like indie developers, right? Getting all these different developers into the room, even in the development of the headset, and then making sure that their games were going to be there for launch, right? Getting White Moon Dreams to make these demo discs, including their games. Like it was just like this great collaboration effort, and Sony was right there in the middle of it, like an octopus with arms out everywhere, making sure that everything was working together. And then PSVR 2 came out, and everyone's like, Sony never even fucking told us this thing was happening. It's like just
Right.
like zero communication. Is a much different Sony. Looper says it was all shoe. It was probably all shoe. You're probably right. Right. And then like, and then she was in a much different position when PSVR 2 came out. So, yeah, that's, I think that's what happened. I think that's what happened. It's like a lot of studios just felt like they were included in PSVR 1 and then shunned when technically everyone was shunned when PSVR 2 came out. They were just like, yeah, make games for it or don't. We don't care. We're gonna pay Capcom, and that's the end of it.
Sounds plausible. Sounds very plausible.
Excellent. All right, man. Listen, everybody. Again, it's Friday, so I know if you get a short-term memory problem like I do, then you're in trouble. But make sure you subscribe to Virtual Strangers because the Sunday show is almost here. The 2024 show will be happening on Sunday. It's gonna be like all day. You don't want to miss your chance to get free games and to hang out with Virtual Strangers. And I guess I'm gonna be there a little bit on Sunday. So don't forget. Set reminders. Tell Alexa, set a reminder for Sunday to watch
Or subscribe.
to watch
just
Virtual
subscribe.
Strangers on Sunday. She's gonna say it all day. Okay, she's gonna keep talking. Alexa, stop. I've just pissed so many people off. Everyone's like, my Alexa's going off. Yeah, definitely subscribe. Click the notification bell. Do all that. It's gonna be a good time. Can be a good time. All the links are in the description below. Come join us on Discord. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Wes, for being here in place of Myles. And thank you, Myles, for abandoning me in my time of need. It's just kidding. I love you. I love you very much. Appreciate everyone who helps the channel run. It's everybody from the people who support us on patreon.com/withoutparole games, everyone who's a member over here, everyone who tips during the show. The financial support is very much appreciated. Thank you so much. But we're just happy that you're here, part of the community, hanging out with us on Discord, hanging out with us in the live chat. And of course, everybody who sits back and watches the show. It doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there and we love you just as much. Here it is, Wes. Your clip of the week from Morseek. Hey, that rhymed. Here it is. Wes, you got to love a clip from Trombone Champ. Trombone Champ as sadly did not get enough love over on Without Parole. I didn't get the review or the Brian Bite that I wanted to do for it. So it's very nice to see a clip of the week where Orsi kind of killing it with the hitting the notes, but absolutely adorable with the cat looking back at him as if he's doing something wrong, which I absolutely love. That just got an update, didn't it?
Yes, it actually did got a pretty substantial update yesterday. In fact, free update, new outdoor environment, which is kind of like this outdoor wintry stage with a bunch of like New Year decorations. But I'm told that this environment is kind of going to be used as a framework for a lot of upcoming and outdoor environments as well. And then a bunch of new trombones as well. It's funny. I was talking to you recently about this game and how a lot of people don't really look at it as a like a serious like VR rhythm game, which it is, and they've done a lot in this update to kind of give it that kind of fresh coat of paint. And I'm being totally sarcastic right now. There's a fart trombone in this one,
Oh.
Ryan. So
Oh
yeah.
man. All right. I wasn't in on the joke, but that's fantastic. Good.
Yeah,
Nothing like
yeah, no,
taking.
there's a number of I think there's like 4 new trombones in this, and one of them is a bean trombone, and it makes fart noises. So yeah, but there's a lot of other like quality of life stuff. People have given a lot of suggestions about how to navigate the game and get back to this screen and that. They've incorporated a lot of that feedback, and it's a much more polished title today. So yeah, check it out if you haven't already.
Fifth with the final Australian $2 tip says Sunday multiplayer. Yeah, I have no idea. This is but don't worry, I am working on an epic episode of PSVR this week, and so PSVR this week will be out with any luck tonight. I've been working on it all day, and I'm only halfway through, and it's already 7.5 minutes long. So I've been feeling it's going to be about roughly a 15-minute episode of PSVR this week. Usually right before I'm done, they announce what the Sunday multiplayer game is. So that is on track, and we will announce that tonight. But again, you can always find out on Discord. So sign up to Discord, subscribe to Virtual Strangers, and have a wonderful weekend. We love you all.
Bye.